Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to a 2023 edition of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I get to simplify the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. Let me start with this. Happy New Year! Merry Christmas, happy holiday season, wherever your thoughts are and beliefs are, practices in around this time of year. I hope, though, that you had a little bit of time for family, for rest, and I hope you've had some time for gratitude and maybe some reflection on what it was that worked and went great about 2022 and what it is that you want to have happen in 2023. I finished off 2022 with COVID. I'd gone all this time and not managed to get the spicy cough, but I got a go at it as well. And let me just say this, the first 2 days were a breeze. I had a bit of a headache, no big deal at all. And then after that, I crashed in a hole, which surprised me because I thought I was super healthy. I'm definitely not obese and overweight. I definitely don't have chronic health issues. But man, did I have a sore throat like I've never had before. But and then the week after, the fatigue was next level. But I'm happy to tell you now, I'm back to 110% and I'm more dangerous than ever, other than maybe still a slightly croaky voice. So forgive me if I do a few kind of throughout this episode as well. I'll do the best. Jason or perhaps my editor will cut some of them out there. Now, I thought what better time than the beginning of the year for us to talk through how do you build your practice? How do we increase income, impact, enjoyment? And I'm going to take you through 10 steps, things that I would do if I was starting from scratch or even if I wanted to just grow this year. We're going to take it right from the beginning. Let's start with this. Step number one, I've been banging on about this for a long time, is that you need to begin with developing a clear niche or a target audience for your chiropractic care. Now, there's several reasons we want to do this, but this helps you to attract patients who are specifically looking for the care that you offer, okay, or specifically looking for chiropractic for that matter as well, okay. Now, there's many benefits for why you should be doing this, but what it helps to do is it really helps to focus your marketing efforts because it means instead of trying to talk to everybody, which takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money, we focus on only going after those people who are a good fit for your practice. So therefore, it means, second, it helps you to attract more qualified leads. So this will ultimately lead to more revenue inside your practice as well. The third reason I want you to really be this year, 2023, making sure you've got a clear target audience as well, is it means that you, particularly when you're online and through your website, I'm going to talk a lot about these in the other 10 steps as well. It means that you'll be creating more relevant and personalized content, okay? Now, when you're creating more relevant and personalized content, this helps you build stronger relationships. We, my friends, are in the relationships gang. This is all about a relationships game. This is all about building community. And the very definition of community is not everybody's in it. Okay, if we want, this audience of people who are following you, building your loyal fans, we have to decide who they are. And then finally, what it does is that when you decide who your target audience is, it allows you to better understand the needs and the wants of these people, and therefore allows you to position your practice in a way that sets it apart from everybody else. So when somebody's looking for a chiropractor, we want them through the marketing and through the business activities that you have for them to be able to really easily say, this is for me. And that begins with step number one, developing a really clear niche and target audience. The second thing that I want to really encourage you to commit to in 2023 is creating a strong online presence. Now we want to do this through a professional website. So when was the last time, like many of you have not done anything to your website in sometimes decades. I had a lovely coaching client last year that the website hasn't been touched in 20 years. He was one of the early adopters with getting a website, but then just stopped after that. And his website looked like it was 20 years old. It's amazing how quickly these things really age. And so we want to have a professional website. We want to have active social media accounts. Same thing there too. When you're not posting regularly, when you're not updating things, it's a real trust indicator. In fact, it erodes trust if I'm not seeing you regularly updating. So there needs to be things changing all the time, at least on a monthly basis, but preferably on a weekly basis as well. So the content that's across your social media accounts needs to be engaging, and it needs to showcase your expertise and show me as somebody that's a potential patient What is the value? Why should I come and see you? Why should I invest my hard-earned time, effort, and money in coming to see you? Okay, now we're going to dive into these a little deeper as we go forward. Step number 2 is creating a strong online presence. Okay, professional website, active social media accounts, engaging content that showcases your expertise, solves problems, positions you as a person of value, as a chiropractor as well. Step number 3, I want you to think about, and we think often, and we know about social media as far as marketing. We look at websites and stuff like that too. But step number 3 is that you want to be networking and building relationships with potential patients, referral sources, industry partners, and you want to be expanding your reach and your visibility. Now, one of the other mantras that I'm saying regularly is the more people that know you, like you, and trust you, the busier your practice will be. Now, there is a game in this know, like, and trust when we think about the time that it takes. Remember, I've talked about this before, but let's review it, because this episode here is going to be a real review of everything that I have taught and everything I'll continue to expand on and update as the year goes forwards. Google and their list of wonderful engineers developed this term that they call the zero moment of truth. The zero moment of truth is where a relationship went and developed enough confidence in the relationship, or connection, they often talk about there too, where somebody was happy to make a buying decision. So if somebody's scrolling, looks at your website, or even if somebody sees you at a community talk, how long does it take for that person to be confident to make a buying decision? They said it took 7 hours. So 7 hours of them engaging with your content. And ideally, those 7 hours of content were best to happen over 11 interactions. So rather than having 7 straight hours with somebody, we built more trust and connection if that happened over 11 interactions. And it was best to happen in 4 different locations. Now, if you think about as relationships grow, whether they be intimate relationships, friendships, it's much the same way. The more time we spend with somebody, the more connection there is. The more interactions, the more times that we're together, not just total time, but in different little allotments, the greater the connection. And then again, the different places that we catch up, the better our friendships are. We catch up with people at our house, at their house, sporting events. The more different locations this happens, the deeper the connection is also. And so we want to be, if we're again wanting to have more people know us, like us, and trust us, we want to have a network of people in our community that help us do that and building these relationships. I'm going to go into a little later in here one of the tips in terms of building network of relationships with healthcare practitioners. But we had a wonderful network of relationships with personal trainers, gyms, naturopaths, myos, where there was a lovely kind of to and fro of referrals back and forwards. And when you have a number of these relationships, they take time to build. But when you have a number of these too, then what you're really doing is you're creating a great foundations of your practice. So this year, start to think about, who are these relationships? Where can they come from? Are there industries? We did a lot of corporate talks. Now, as a result of these corporate talks, many of these businesses for years afterwards would continue to send their staff our way whenever they were having issues as well. Number 4 is offer high quality services, consistently deliver results to your patients, and build a positive reputation and word of mouth referrals. Okay, now nothing rocket science there, but it's ignored a lot. Particularly what we tend to be doing is focusing all on our external marketing. But what about just getting simple, old-fashioned, wonderful results for our patients as well? So here's some things that you might want to think about as well. Focus on patient satisfaction. Make sure that your patients are happy with the care that they receive and that their needs are being met. Now, this is as simple as just asking them. Now, you could organize your CA to do this kind of one-on-one with them. You could send out surveys to them, but you want to be gathering this sort of data. Okay, we're going to be talking about data a little bit later on as well. So, asking for feedback and then making changes based on that feedback. Constantly pushing to go above and beyond. The second part of this high quality services is make sure that you're delivering consistent results. So it's important that, not to show up fantastic on Monday, start to get a little more tired on Wednesday and Friday, but we want to have consistently delivering positive results for our patients in order to build that reputation. Unfortunately, the tiniest little time when we're off can erode, weeks, months, sometimes even years of being brilliant. So, you might want to be looking at tracking the success rate of the care. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the data as well. So, are you staying up to date with best practices? So, there are certain truths in around chiropractic and the body being self-healing that will be the same today, yesterday, and in the future. But that doesn't mean that we can't get technically better. So we need to be making sure we're staying up to date. I'm going to talk about this also. Part of this is building really strong relationships with your patients where possible, utilizing things like social proof, testimonials. If your part of the world allows you to do that, this is a good thing for you to be doing, okay? So part of if 2023 is going to be really successful for you for growth, enjoyment, impact, income, is that you want to make sure that you're offering high quality services and consistently delivering results for your patients. All right, on to number 5. We're halfway, almost. After this, we'll be at halfway, okay? Are you investing in ongoing education and professional development? I kind of touched on that beforehand to stay up to date with what are the best industry trends, what are the best practices. This is something that amazes me, particularly with practitioners that have been out much more than a decade. They get very comfortable with their techniques, they get very comfortable with their communication, and so therefore there's no growth. Now, there's no growth, then what's actually happening is there's death on some stage. It's very hard in a business just to tread water or stay still there. Now, many countries around the world have a continuing education that is required. And then it surprises me how many chiropractors end up whinging and complaining about the course that they're doing, how irrelevant it is. There's plenty of wonderful training out there from, some of my favorites, Dr. Mo, who's been on the podcast here, Michael Hall. There's so many, even the work that Fletcher does, Tony Ebel. People that are delivering wonderful content here that will help you stay up to date, to grow and evolve. And so maybe that's a big part of what you need to do in 2023 is learn something new. I used to love the renewed enthusiasm that I'd have when I'd go back into the practice after being at a technique seminar or a communication seminar, anything like that too. So that's a big important thing. Number 6, let's go, because I touched on this beforehand, but one of the groups that you should be considering partnering with is absolutely other healthcare providers. So whether it's a physical therapist, massage therapist, other complementary services. Now, when we do this, we are able to absolutely attract a wider range of patients. So it could be a direct referral partnership where you send patients to them and they send patients to you. This is a very easy thing. And again, when I talk about building these sorts of relationships are not something that often build quickly. You need to invest in these. But when you invest in these and when they pay off, they can be incredibly valuable to both parties and the patients involved as well. So you could do things like joint ventures where you can consider partnering with other healthcare providers to, maybe a part of your adjustment package is some massages. And maybe part of their massage package is an initial consultation and some scans at your practices as well. So, you could even collaborative care. That took me hard to get that word out. Collaborative, it's not that difficult a word, but collaborative care, like, can you formalize that in some way? Could you actually do co-marketing where you combined your marketing budgets together? So that you're increasing the spend. So these are all different ways that you can partner with other businesses. Now, how do you go about doing this? Often the most difficult thing is just to start the first step. And so I often ask patients, what other health practitioners do you see and who do you really love? First of all, do you have a great GP? Do you have a great physical therapist? Do you have a great massage therapist? And then I will reach out to them and say something, this has to be done genuinely too. People, sometimes when I share this with people, that it sounds a bit like a kind of spiel, but I wanted to know in my community who were the great practitioners. So I might ring up the massage therapist and say, hey, listen, I refer a lot of my patients to massage therapy. Love it, think it's wonderful. It's a great addition to my care here. I'd like to find out a little bit more about what you do so I know who are my best patients to send to you. Now, when I reach out like that, as opposed to saying, hey, listen, I'm a local chiropractor in town, I wonder if we can catch up with a coffee to see if we can build a referral partnership. Like if somebody contacted me out of the blue like that too, I would probably ignore them. And, I would be busy. But when I go about trying to meet their needs first, the door's open. I can have a chat with this person. I can find out what their values are. I can find out how they feel about chiropractic, because I don't want to be sending a bunch of people to somebody if they never refer back. This happens sometimes too. But point number 6, to grow your practice in 2023 is consider partnering with other healthcare practitioners. We talked about gyms and personal trainers, corporate partners beforehand, but we certainly should be making sure that we're partnering with healthcare practitioners as well. Number 7 here, you really need to have a suite of free resources, content such as blogs, videos, newsletters that showcase your expertise. and therefore allow you to attract potential patients. Now, when we have this, some of the benefits of doing this is, first of all, just traffic. By offering free resources and content, you're going to attract more traffic to your website, to your online platforms, which will therefore increase your visibility and help you reach a wider audience. Free content also helps you to establish authority. When you're creating the content, what you want to be doing is demonstrating your expertise. And when you do it through free resources, also helps to build trust. It provides value. Again, another thing that builds trust. These free resources and content are actually helping your audience get a result before even needing to come into you. So not only is that valuable, as I mentioned before, it's massively important in building trust. And of course, what it does is it generates leads, potential patients into your practice, because we have calls of action in there. Depending on the content type, it might be linked in with email marketing. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. And of course, content and regularly having this free content will increase your search ranking. If you've got great content on your website, more people are coming to your website, then the Google and the likes, this will really help to improve your search engine optimization. Okay, so that was number 7. Number 8. You really want to have a system for your marketing and the promotion of your services. Now, these could be things like email marketing, paid advertising, public speaking opportunities. But a system is something that's predictable, that every month we spend this amount. This is what we do in January. This is what we do in February. When we're going at things very hit and miss, we're not going to get great results. If I'm trying to manage my health hit and miss, I don't get great results. Hopefully you're putting your patients on care plans, that there are regular reviews that you're assessing along. So let's have a look. Email marketing. Email marketing is basically putting out free content in exchange for an email address. Now, maybe you could be advertising this free content on the social platforms. Maybe it could be on your website as well. Now, what this allows you to do is follow up. Remember that 7 hours of content, 11 interactions, 4 different locations. This helps you to move close towards that 7, 11, and 4. Paid advertising. If you're not paying to get your message out into your community, then I'll ask you, how serious are you about your business? Now, the paid advertising might be on platforms like Google, it could be on any of the social media platforms, or maybe there are websites out there that have your target audience and you might want to pay to get in front of them. I'm all for organic. Organic is fantastic, but hey man, we can speed this process up by paying for it as well. So part of your system for your marketing should be public speaking opportunities. Okay, now public speaking opportunities, giving presentations, little lectures, as little as 5 to 10 minutes right the way through to hours, sometimes half days, are a fantastic way for you to showcase your expertise, promote your services. So these are super effective. A big part of what we did in our practice was corporate talks. And again, people fuss about these a lot, but the way we got a lot of our corporate talks was just to chat with our patients, first of all. Again, not by reaching out and trying to cold call companies who didn't even know who we were, and then as a little chiropractic practice saying we want to come and talk to your staff. We mentioned to our patients, hey, listen, we're looking at our community outreach for the year. We've done some great corporate talks in the past. Do you have people come in and do talks in your work? And a lot of people will go, yes. And then I will often say to them, do you think you might be interested in learning some stuff about posture, managing your stress, decreasing the aches and pains that go along with kind of working in office? And again, the answer is almost always hell yes again. And then you find out who is the contact person, and then you ask if your patient can do an introduction. Now, when you do this, it massively increases the success rate of you being able to break through the noise. And from these, we end up booking talks, 1 out of 4, maybe even 1 out of 3 of them. It really speeds things up as well. So public speaking opportunities. Again, social media marketing should be a part of it. You should be boosting your posts. You should have a paid money that you're investing each and every week to make sure that your content is getting out in front of all the people in your community. We want to be showing you off as an authority, as an expert as well. So you want to have a system for your marketing. Okay. Number 9, we want as well. You need to make sure that this is a huge missing piece that I see so many chiropractors literally forget about as well, is that you want to be using data and metrics to track your progress, okay? This therefore allows you to make informed decisions about how to grow and improve your chiropractic practice. So what are some of the data pieces we want to be looking at? So again, an obvious one to begin with, new patient numbers. So tracking the number of new patients each and every month that you're seeing allows you to look at what trends, what's working for you. Of course, we absolutely should be looking at patient retention rate. It's much easier and more cost effective for us to retain a patient than it is for us to get a new one. So tracking the percentage of patients that continue on and how long do they continue on as well is something that's incredibly important. Revenue. Now, if you are getting more new patients and if your retention is improving, then your revenue should be climbing as well. So tracking revenue helps you look at the financial performance of your practice, again, looking for any trends. When we're looking at marketing effectiveness, we can drop right down here and we say, listen, I made this video, I gave this offer for it, and therefore what we can do specifically is track the number of leads and therefore conversions that come from that. You might find that when there are videos that you make about migraines, it always leads to more patients. But if you're not tracking that information, you're going to be making a whole bunch of videos about topics that people in your community aren't interested in. One of the things that you should be tracking data-wise is patient satisfaction. We talked about this earlier on, but this should be something that you're tracking. Tracking patient satisfaction through surveys or other means helps you understand how well you're meeting the needs of your patients, allows you to make changes. Now, this is an interesting one as I was doing some research through this as well, is care success. Now, we have listeners to this that have lots of different goals. Some of you are very focused on helping the primary symptom that patient came in with, but many it's that and many other things as well. You can track that. Again, not only are there wellness trackers that can help you beyond just the resolution of symptoms, but we've got this vision for what chiropractic is. There are ways for us to objectively measure that beyond just somebody saying my migraines have gone. What things in their life are they able to do better? Quality of life measures. If you know and are able to say with great confidence that when people come into your practice, their quality of life improves, okay, that's something that will help you attract, retain, and inspire a lot more people under care. Now, the 10th and final point I want to give you with regards to all of this, and this episode may well be one that needs multiple listens, there's a lot I've kind of packed into this too, is to be patient and consistent with your efforts, because growing your chiropractic practice takes time. Okay, this is we've particularly done this at the start of 2023 because this is a whole year thing. Don't expect that you can just do this over the next, 3 months, even 6 months. Now, yes, 6 months, you'll certainly see changes with this too, but that's the timeframes that you really need to be thinking about, okay? Let me briefly summarize all of those again and we'll wind things up. Okay, how do we grow our practice in 2023? The first is you need to develop a really clear niche and a target audience. The second thing we talked about is creating a strong online presence, professional website, active social media accounts, active being the key word there too. Number 3 is to network and build relationships with potential patients, referral sources, industry partners at this stage here as well. Number 4 now, offer high quality services, consistently deliver results above and beyond for your patients so that you're building a positive reputation and word of mouth referrals also, okay? Number 5, invest in ongoing education, professional development. Number 6, partner with other healthcare providers. Okay, so that's what we want to be doing. Number 7, as I scroll through my notes, have a suite of free resources, content, blogs, videos, newsletters that show people your expertise, that attract those patients, that target audiences as well to begin with, okay? Number 8 is have a system for marketing. So rather than it being all ad hoc, we want to have a system there, whether that's email marketing, make sure part of it is absolutely paid advertising. Number 9 here is making sure that you've got data and you're using data to measure and therefore pivot. And then number 10, again, is be patient and consistent. This stuff takes time. Folks, welcome to 2023. It's a pleasure to be back here. I've got lots of wonderful things in store for you as the year goes on. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. I look forward to seeing you back here, same time, same bat channel next week. Be well. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.